Hi everyone, I'm Rick, creator of Revelations Skirmish, a destructive combined arms miniatures game that you can 3D print from home or purchase pre-printed models from us. Now in this video, I'm going to be assembling a Core Republic Hunter 1H, and the 1H stands for, well, one hatchet. You can purchase this model from our site, link is in the description below. So as with all of the Hunters, you're going to get a 50mm WarMech base. Notches are going to indicate the rear arc. With the 1H here, you're going to have the legs pre-assembled with the pelvis so that those are already taken care of for you. You're going to have the torso, a main thruster, an optical sensor, 2 shoulders, 2 elbows, 2 forearms, and then you're going to have a hand, and then the hand holding a hatchet. So we're going to go ahead and get started here really quick, but we're going to begin with the main thruster. Pretty much as always, we're going to dry fit that, and that one's actually very snug. So I don't even actually have to glue that, so we're not going to do that. We're going to check the optical sensor here. That will need some glue. Normally it does. And I'm going to be using some Zap-A-Gap super glue. Most other super glues will work just fine, but that's what we're going to be going with. And with the optical sensor here, you can kind of angle it however you'd like. I'm going to aim mine maybe slightly off center. The mech doesn't actually have to be looking exactly where the optical sensor is, because each of these other little nubs here, these what look like bolts, are all optical sensors for the Hunter, so it's covered in them. It's got them all over the place. So even if this main optical sensor cluster is not aimed straight ahead or whatever, technically it could be looking in multiple different directions, giving the operator on the inside, the mech pilot, lots of different perspective, and kind of always allows them to see what they need to see so that they can not get blown up in the fight. So with the feet here being pre-assembled, they're already very close to level, depending on how some slight discrepancies when printing, or if there's a little bit of extra support, flack here that you can just shave down. But since these are already going to be kind of in place now, what we'll do is we'll take the legs and we're going to take the torso. And I know that with this pose, I'm going to have the left arm obviously aimed straight, but I'm probably going to have it aimed a little bit this way, which is why I wanted to have the optical sensor a little bit off center, so that when we get it, we'll take the rear arc, we'll aim the legs maybe a little bit this way, aim the torso, then we'll have the laser from the shoulder being aimed, kind of in this direction. So we'll actually have it more like this, kind of with with the shoulder aimed like pretty much straight ahead. So let's go ahead and, you know what? We're gonna do it a little bit different this time. We're gonna glue the torso on first, then we'll do the feet. And the reason in this scenario why I'm gonna do it this way is I wanna make sure that the torso is gonna be angled the way that I want, kind of really selling the pose. But more or less, I want to be able to angle that torso down some, and it's a little bit easier to do it without the base kind of in the way, a little bit more free flowing. So I got that there. So we'll go ahead and we'll put some glue here on the foot, and as always with my method, I'm going to just do just enough for it to stay in place for play, but then I want to be able to remove it later. So I don't want to put so much glue that I can't do that, because then that way I can play with it, do whatever I'm going to do, and then I can start to paint it and then take it off the base and get it all decorated and all the way that I really want it to be. As this continues to finish drying here, we're going to go ahead and start working on the left arm. Normally I wouldn't do this. I would want to make sure that I start with the shoulders being attached to the torso, but I know that this arm is going to be basically aimed just straight ahead. So I'm not super worried about getting the elbow plugged into the shoulder. Now, it's worth pointing out, first off, that the shoulders, if you find where the other little optical sensor is, the little camera, that is going to be pointed towards the rear. So there's only one on each of the shoulders, and that'll always be pointed towards the back of the mech. With the elbows here, you're going to notice one side is smooth, the other side has basically a H-shaped panel, capital H. That is going to be for the outside of the machine. So in this case, with it being the left arm, I want the H pointed outward, because when I assemble it, it's going to be on the left side of my mech. So now that we've done a dry fit, we know that's going to fit the way that we want it to. Go ahead and add that. And I want this to be basically just a straightened out arm. So it's gonna be pretty much just entirely sideways. And that way we'll get the focus beam when we attach that to be where we want that to be. So with that attached, we can go ahead and start gluing on the shoulder here to the shoulder socket. And while that is continuing to finish curing, we're gonna go ahead and begin working on the right arm. Now the right arm, it's gonna be holding one of the hatchets, but it's kind of holding it off to the side. So we'll kind of have it a little bit at a downward angle. And we'll go ahead and glue the elbow on now. Let's do the left forearm, which will be aimed just straight ahead. You know, we can put the glue just right on there. And then it's worth probably picking it up and kind of making sure it's aimed exactly where you want it to be. Because otherwise it could slightly be bent and you may not want that. While that's finishing, I think we can go ahead and do this left hand. It's going to be the hand here. Again, basically just straight ahead, maybe angled down a little bit, like it's flexing the hand slightly downward to avoid being hit by the laser. The laser would clear fine, but it just looks a little bit cooler if the hand is angled downward there too, if you can see there on the white. It just helps look a little bit more like, you know, it's firing. To me, that seems cool. Work on this right arm now. And then put the glue here for the right hand. And we're gonna want this, like I said, angled outward. We don't have to, we could have it. Let's go with that. Actually angled inward instead. Because the hand, the right arm would be a little bit relaxed as it's firing the focus beam from the left arm. So I think that looks, see that real quick. It looks natural enough. And then when we, you know, if I ever build another Hunter 1H for my Corre Republic forces, I can always angle it slightly different, or I could, because I have the STLs obviously, I could mirror the arm so I could have the right arm firing for the other pose. That could be cool. Or I could give it two arms firing and then put the 1H hatchet in one of the other hands or whatnot. But there we are, it's all fully assembled now and ready to go for the table. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you'd like to purchase this model, you can do so by clicking the link in the description, or you can go to our web store. Thank you again for watching.